Expert detectives. Nishad, a boy of 7, also called 7 because his name means the seventh note on the musical scale, and his 10-year-old sister Maya are very curious about one Mr. Nath. Then, one day, the children's marble rolls into Mr. Nath's room, and Nishad gets a chance to see him. Is he a crook on the run? Why is his face badly scared? Why has he no friends? Nishad's mother, a doctor, knows Mr. Nath as a patient who is very polite. As Maya and Nishad walked towards the clinic, Nishad or Seven said,
He doesn't look like a monster, Maya. But did you see how thin he is? Maybe he's very poor and can't afford to eat.
He can't be poor if he is a crook on the run. He's probably got millions of rupees stashed somewhere in that room.
Do you really think he's a criminal, Maya? He doesn't look like one.
Nishad looked doubtful.
Of course, he is 1/7 and he certainly isn't starving. Mr. Mehta told us that Ramesh brings his meals up from the restaurant downstairs.
But Maya, Mr. Mehta told us he doesn't work anywhere. So how can he possibly have money to pay for food?
Nishad said,
Exactly! He must have lots of money hidden somewhere. Maybe in that trunk in his room. It's probably full of silver and gold and jewels and...
What rubbish!
Nishad interrupted.
I know, I am right, stupid. By the way, Seven, did you see his cars? I couldn't. It was too dark. But I bet he got them during a shootout with the police or something.
Mommy told us quite clearly they were burned cars.
Nishad said firmly.
Perhaps the police had to set his house on fire to force him out.
Maya suggested. Seven looked unsure. On the Monday following Mama's birthday, Seven went alone with her to the clinic at Girgaon. As Maya was spending the evening with a school friend. When they returned, Nishad told her that he had been to see Mr. Nath, and Maya felt most annoyed that she didn't go to the clinic with her. Seven had been quite upset about Mr. Nath's gaunt appearance and was sure that he was starving. He told Maya that he had knocked loudly on Mr. Nath's door that evening and said,
Open the door quickly, Mr. Nath.
the man had opened the door and asked him.
Lost another marble?
He had obviously recognized Nishad.
No.
Said Nishad. He had taken the man's hand in his own and thrust a bar of chocolate into it.
Did you get a chance to peek into the trunk, Seven?
Maya asked.
He didn't even ask me. But I found out something, Maya. I went down to the restaurant where Ramesh works and talked to him.
Good for you, Mr. Detective. I hope you questioned him properly.
Ramesh told me that he takes 2 meals for Mr. Nath every morning and evening and 2 cups of tea, one in the morning and one in the afternoon. Ramesh says he is not very particular about what he eats. It's always the same food. 2 chapatis, some dal and a vegetable. Mr. Nath pays cash and tips well. Ramesh told me something very strange, Maya. Almost every Sunday he carries 2 lunches to Mr. Nath's room and the same man is with him each time. He is tall, fair, stout and wears spectacles. Ramesh says his sister talks a lot, unlike Mr. Naya who hardly speaks.
Well done, Nishad. Now that we have made some progress with our inquiries, we'll have to sort out all the facts that like expert detectives so that we can trap the crook.
How you do go on, Maya? How can you possibly imagine he's a crook? He looks so ordinary.
This can look quite ordinary, Smarty. Did you see the pictures of the Hyderabadi housebreaker yesterday? He looked like any man on the street.
Nishad looked doubtful. The monsoons broke the next day. Dark clouds, accompanied by blinding flashes of lightning and the roaring rolls of thunder, burst with all their fury, flooding the streets with a heavy downpour. School was to have reopened after the summer holidays, but no traffic could move through the flooded roads, and there was an unexpected holiday. Maya thought that she would spend the time usefully. She sat at her desk in their bedroom with a sheet of paper before her. Then Maya began writing. She wrote in large block letters, "Catching a crook. Expert detectives. Nishad and Maya Pandit. By appointment to the whole world." When she started writing, it was 12. About an half hour later, Maya turned towards Nishad, who was lying on his tummy, chin cupped in his palms, reading comics. Maya said,
Want to hear what I have written?
Maya asked. Seven looked up questioningly and Maya said,
I have listed all the facts we know about Mr. Nath, which might help us to trap him. Want to hear?
7 nodded.
Fact number 1. His name is Mr. Nath. We must discover his first name.
Do you think that's his real name, Maya?
Nishad asked.
Probably not. Most crooks have an alias. So I added a big question mark after Nath. Fact number 2. The tenants of Shanga House says that he is mad, strange and unfriendly. Number 3. He doesn't talk to anyone and is mannerless.
But he did talk to us, Maya, and Mama says he is very polite.
Nishad interrupted.
He only talked to us because he had to. And since he was under Mama's medical treatment, he had to be polite. Fact number 4. He doesn't receive any letters.
7 nodded.
Number 5. He has been living in the room 10 of Shanga House for more than a year. Number 6. He doesn't work and sits in the room all day. Number 7. The kids in the Shankar house and even some of the grown-ups are scared of him. Number 8. He has no visitors except for a spectacled, fair, fat man who visits him Sundays for lunch. Number 9. Food and tea are taken to his room by Ramesh from the restaurant downstairs. He doesn't care what he eats, pays his bill immediately and tips well. That ends my list. Have I forgotten anything, 7?
Nishad had obviously not been paying too much attention to Maya's list of facts. All he could say was,
Poor man, Maya. He must be so lonely if he doesn't have any friends.
How can a crook have friends, idiot?
At least he has one friend, the one who meets him on Sundays.
said Nishad. A brilliant thought occurred to Maya just then. Maya said,
That man must be Mr. Nath's accomplice in crime. Maybe he keeps all the loot and he comes now and then to give part of it to his partner. Mr. Nath for expenses. That's it. I'm sure I'm right.
If you insist on calling him a criminal, I don't think I want to discuss anything with you, Maya.
said Nishad angrily.
He can't be such a bad man if he gives Ramesh such generous tips.
Sumesh probably knows something about his past, so Mr. Nath must be bribing him to keep quiet.
Said Maya. Nishad glared at Maya with his arms tightly crossed across his chest. Maya was beginning to get fed up with him.
How can we make any progress with our investigation if you take that attitude, Seven?
Maya asked.
I'll cooperate only if you give up this idea about him being an escaped crook. You really make me angry.
Make you angry? You stupid oaf. You make me mad. What is the point of all these inquiries if he's not a crook? If you think he's a nobody, what's the idea of bothering about him? Please tell me.
Nishad looked thoughtful.
I would like to find out why he's so thin and why he's so lonely. I want to know why he doesn't have any friends and lives alone.
Try to understand, Seven. If he has lived in Shankar house for a year and has not made a single friend, then there is something wrong. He is obviously scared that someone will recognize him and will give him up to the cops.
Maybe no one's tried to make friends with him.
Nishad protested.
Why should anyone bother? You have seen what a nasty bear he is.
Maya said.
I don't care. I like him and I'm going to try and be his friend.
Friends with a crook? Huh? You're crazy, Seven. The cops will take you to jail with him. Do you want that to happen, you idiot?
Nishad merely glared at Maya and then quietly walked out of the room. Maya's theories seemed to have made no impression on him at all. Thank you.